Oh. Oh, man, another day, another night. We are not in Anaheim, and that absolutely sucks. But we're here with all of y'all. Cannot wait to talk even more about Star Wars Celebration. We got through a whole day last week. And a whole show. Hopefully we can get through a couple more tonight. We got a little bit of news, a little bit of congratulations ahead of the week. But before all of that, we got the man, the myth, the legend, waiting on the button for me to say, Wes, punch it. Hello, everyone! Welcome to the Living Force UTD Network podcast, all about Star Wars Celebration and the incredible depression that followed it. I'm one of your hosts, Eric Eilerson, and joining me to lament that we're not in Anaheim is happy birthday to you. Dr. Corey Helton, it's his birthday,
It is my birthday. Hello, everyone. It's just my birthday. I'm not sure. That was like my kind of Lobot C-3PO dance, I guess. Doesn't he do that?
Yeah.
Drum roll. I was going to say, if you guys sing me happy birthday on the show, I will kill myself live on the internet. Don't do that. Darkness. I'm sorry. I've been watching season 4 of Stranger Things. I've been in a dark place. Let me tell you.
It's a massive switch from like the light and life of Celebration to like maybe everyone's gonna die. Who's to say?
That is accurate. That is accurate. Yeah. Here we
Sponsor
go.
us,
Happy birthday.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yes. So glad you're here, man. You don't look a day over 40.
Oh my God. I'm pretty sure Celebration in the week that followed aged me at least 10 years. So
yeah,
I finally slept and recovered. And as you can see, my office is mostly put together now. We have a few Star Wars decor things to do in here, which we'll do and let's talk about on the show later on. But yeah, I'm finally recovered, excited to talk about this. And I have no memory of talking about the last one. Seriously, I have no memory of sitting down. I'm like looking at the notes. I'm like, did we talk about this stuff? I literally don't remember this. So I have no idea what the show is even about. So, here we are.
It's going to be great. You really got a big Obama at the end of his second term energy right now, where he became just completely gray and exhausted.
The hair is graying. I can feel it. Actively, in the moment.
I'm glad to have you here on this day of your birth. I'm also glad that this next person's here. It's not his birthday. I don't know. It's just a day for you, isn't it, Dr. Charles Hankel? What's today for you?
It is Corey's birthday. That is the day for me as well. I like that. I contemplated not coming this week to the show because last week I was just sad. I was just sad hearing about what an awesome time y'all had, and then you were like, let's do it again next week. And I was like, no, okay, I'll be there. So here I am.
Well, luckily, Charles, we did pay it forward with you by last night getting together and talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi for 2 hours straight.
Like almost 3 hours.
Yeah,
that was great.
I hope that offset this for you, and you can find at least a modicum of happiness that I find every week because I'm in the presence once more of the man who just makes me feel whole, makes me feel alive, and makes me forget I have COVID. It's Wes Jenkins.
Hello, everyone. Eric, I can't thank you enough for these great introductions. You make me feel 10 feet tall.
Good.
Yes. So yesterday. If you're listening to this, yesterday, I say Sunday, we did a bounty hunt podcast, about 2 hours. It was fantastic. I really wanted to watch episode 3 again afterwards. But I'm excited to talk about Celebration and all the cool crap that I bought and or stole from Oga's Cantina.
Yes! Oh my God, can't wait to talk about that. I love a good bit of larceny in my Star Wars. But yes, if y'all haven't missed it and you're caught up on Obi-Wan Kenobi, the new Disney Plus show, of course, we brought back our show Bounty Hunt, where we hunt down all the extra content in the Star Wars universe. We've gone through Manda, we've gone through Clone Wars, we've gone through the Book of Boba Fett, and now we're going through Obi-Wan Kenobi, the first 3 episodes of Obi-Wan were condensed into one massive episode of Bounty Hunt. It's right before this video on our YouTube channel, and by the time you hear this on the audio feed, hopefully we will have uploaded the audio version to the Bounty Hunt podcast feed. We hope you enjoy that. Full spoilers, just as a warning, but come on, you've seen Obi-Wan by now, right? If not, do it. It's great. We love it a lot. Also, on this YouTube channel, we uploaded our panel. A huge shout out to our very own Emma Park, who edited that together. That showed our panel from Star Wars Celebration. So if you missed Utini's exploring the universe, which is fine, a lot of stuff was going on. Mando Plus was going on at that point, and some folks just weren't in Anaheim. That's okay. It is fully up on YouTube right now for you to enjoy. It's about, I don't know, an hour long. We go through the whole history of Star Wars books, and it's pretty cool seeing it up there. It's pretty surreal being up there. But Corey, tell me if you feel the same way. I was watching it, and I was like, oh, right, we did that. It like solidifies that it happened a little bit.
It does.
You know?
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, I still can't believe it. We had a panel at Celebration, and I thought it was pretty good. I went back and watched some of it, and like, it was pretty concise. Emma did a great job of editing like the kind of the slides that we showed, and we put a lot of work into them. And we had lots of people come up to us afterwards and come by the booth later and tell us they really enjoyed the panel, and it's one of their favorites of the weekend. And I feel like we killed it. I mean, it was fun. I mean, you and I were talking before we did the panel, Eric, that like, we weren't really super nervous once we got on stage because we literally get together and practice public speaking once a week for like 3 years. So it really wasn't that different than hosting a podcast. I mean, the energy was good. I mean, it was well rehearsed. It was scripted and for the most part. And that was a lot of fun. It's definitely one of the highlights of any Star Wars experience I've personally had. I mean, I think I'm going to remember that forever, being up there on that stage. And we had a good crowd too. I mean, we had like 150 people or something like that. So I mean, it was a lot of fun.
It was, and yeah, absolutely scripted. Unlike this show, I mean, would I say Banana Grams pork and butt? No, that's not scripted. But the panel was, because it's way more important. And had a great time with it. So I hope you enjoyed the panel. Share it with your friends that don't know who we are. And if you're a new listener, I know that we've gotten a few folks from Celebration that just found us. I'm sorry I just said Bananagram pork and butt. I don't say that a lot. Don't expect that from me. But if you're just finding us and you like what you see, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We got stuff coming out all the time. And if you're listening to us in audio and you haven't yet, whether you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, what have you, go ahead, give us a rating, give us a little review, tell people why you like us, or if you don't like us, I think they disabled reviews, so don't do that. Sorry, really timing there. So I want to thank you all for listening and watching, but of course I want to say a special thank you to our Patreon community over at patreon.com/Utini. Oh my goodness, all the photos and videos and things have finally been put in a Google Drive from Celebration. The content is beginning to be put together. Obviously, our panel was the first thing we wanted to do, but for our patrons, we're going to be putting together some stuff for you. Some videos, some behind-the-scenes things. I have a couple things in mind related to some merchandise stuff that we're going to put up for you, so keep your eyes peeled. And again, thank you all so much for supporting us, allowing us not only to make all these podcasts and all this stuff on utini.com. I mean, we're talking server costs, we're talking design elements, but we're also talking things that allow us to make these cool projects for you and got us to Celebration in the first place. We could not have made the booth, could not have done the panel, couldn't have done anything without you. We love you so dearly. Thank you so, so much. All right. Next up, before we dive back into the Celebration joy. I really miss Anaheim, guys. We have a really quick announcement for our Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
It's the Star Wars Weekly Roundup.
All right, a little bit of announcement for this week. A book that kind of slid under the radar until we were at Celebration, honestly. We're getting so many books right now. But it's Star Wars Stories of Jedi and Sith. This book is releasing tomorrow from our friends at Disney Books, Disney Lucasfilm. If you get a copy, it will not look like this, because this is the convention exclusive cover of one Obi-Wan Kenobi by the incredible Jake Bartok. He also illustrated the main cover that has Darth Vader on the front. So if you're buying this from Barnes & Noble, Amazon, your local indie publisher, whatever it may be, You're going to see Vader on it. It's going to have the same great stories, the same great interior art by Jake. I just kind of want to make y'all aware of this. I was able to at least start going through this on the plane ride back, and as I said, I did unfortunately get COVID at Celebration. I'm feeling better. A lot of y'all have wished me well. I really appreciate it, but I was able to kind of knock out a few of these over the weekend, and they are just freaking lovely. If you like the Clone Wars stories of Light and Dark, it's the exact same kind of vibe. You want some Yoda in the High Republic? He's going to be in here. You want a cool Qui-Gon story? Of course you do. You always want more Qui-Gon. That's in here. We got a Ventress story. We got all kinds of good short stories. Keep it by the bed. Read one before you go to sleep and just kind of make your way through it. Now, guys, Wes and Corey specifically, did you guys pick up the con exclusive version of this when we were at Celebration? Did you grab this one?
I did not.
I did not
bring home much stuff, honestly, at all, actually, from Celebration. I didn't come home with any books, funny enough. So, no, I did not grab that. But a bunch of people on our team did. I remember that because I had to pack it all up one day at the booth. And there was like so many. I feel like I was like putting a bunch of those books and the special, 3-pack High Republic, like $250 collector. I think I put like 4 of those. There you got it right there. Put like 4 of those under the table, and I was texting everybody, being like, "Hey guys, I'm putting like $3,000 worth of books under the table. I have to leave. I hope somebody comes and picks them up." So that was funny.
I did not make it to the Celebration store because the line was. Did any of y'all wait in like the normal people line?
No, got a lightning lane. Got a lightning lane for it.
No. The line was incredible. So I wasn't able to get in.
I was disappointed with the store in Chicago, so I decided not to even bother trying to do it this time. So I was just like, everything was so picked over after the first day. I was just like, I think I'll pass.
Yeah. Well, even if you weren't there, even if you're a person like Charles who just likes Star Wars and didn't have to prove it by shelling out money like we did, you're better than us, Charles, is what I'm saying. You can pick up Star Wars Stories of Jedi and Sith starting tomorrow, Tuesday the 7th, and it features some friends of the show, including Delilah S. Dawson, who we spoke to almost 3 years ago now. It seems like forever ago. Michael Morisi, who we got to talk to on the show. Alex Segura. A lot of great authors in here as well that we haven't gotten to talk to yet, but are writing some amazing, amazing stories. And as Jared reminds us in the chat, Jen Heddle, one of the editors of Star Wars, amazing person, has some great panels at Celebration, announced that the audiobook has a stellar cast, including Sam Witwer. 3 guesses who he's going to voice in this one. And that is actually going to be delayed by a couple of weeks just due to production issues. So if you're an audiobook listener, you're not going to see it live tomorrow in Audible as you usually do. Know that it's coming. We might have to wait a little bit longer for these short stories, but all these short story collections, I really love how many authors and narrators they get on them, so it'll definitely be a blast. Star Wars, Stories of Jedi and Sith. Use it to tide you over until Shadow of the Sith comes out in just a couple of weeks, y'all. Because you got to go to the utini.com release schedule to find all your new pre-orders, and you're going to have Shadow of the Sith on June 28th by Adam Christopher, and Padawan by Kirsten White on July 26th, YA. So we got a bunch of new ones coming up. And yes, Indiana Trucker, this is news that I'm sure Legends Look Back is going to bring you on Thursday. But if you're on the Star Wars Twitter, or our Twitter, you may have missed the announcement that, guys, the Essential Legends version of Darth Maul's Shadowhunter is going to be narrated fully by Sam Witwer. Did you see that?
Wild.
I did see that today.
By Maul himself.
That's very, very exciting. I did catch, I caught part of Sam Witwer and Matt Lancer on stage at like the Star Wars show stage. That was called, the live stage. Yeah. And they were super, super cool. I tell you what, though, like it is not fair that they could put 2 men that are as, quite frankly, devilishly good looking as those 2 men on the stage at the same time. I'm like, good God, their jawline is going to cut me from over there. It
is insane. I actually, this would probably be fitting later in the show. We're about to jump into our celebration stuff, but on Friday night, Charlie and I went to Star Wars night at Disneyland, and we'll go into that in a little bit detail later, but I did see Sam Witwer there. He was just walking past, because if you know Sam Witwer, you know he's worn the same leather jacket for 15 years. So all you look is for the same jacket, and like Corey said, maybe the most beautiful man you've ever seen in real life. And you've seen that in Sam Witwer. And he was walking with a handler down Main Street, and I was like, I panicked, and I was like, oh my God, Sam Witwer, I love everything you do. He's like, thanks, brother. And he just kept walking, and I'm like, yes!
That was the best thing I could have said.
I know. Like, I nailed it.
Sometimes you just panic. You can't do anything about it. You just panic, you know?
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. We love you, Sam. Glad that he's continuing to be Maul in the Star Wars universe. He's died like 7 times by now, and he keeps getting projects. So, massive props. Make sure to get all his pre-orders in. All that is on UT.com on the new release schedule. The most accurate release schedule on the internet, I will say. Thanks to our amazing timeline database team. Love you guys. Go there and make sure you don't miss anything.
Accurate.
All right. With that, fellas, in honor of Corey's birthday, I'm just going to keep saying that because I love that it's your birthday and it's a show day. This is not going to happen a lot. Let's jump back in to the Star Wars celebration. Charles, you talked way too much last week, so I need you to calm down.
Shut up, Charles. Shut the hell up.
I'll do my best.
But I will say this. So we've had a week since then. Obviously, we came in. The 3 of us were exhausted. I'm going to keep saying I unknowingly had COVID at the time. I was a little exhausted. Charles, what has it been like to kind of see, from your perspective, the kind of bounce back / like start of the emotional train of people returning from celebration and the Star Wars community, like evening, I guess?
I don't know. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster, even for me, just like watching all the conversations going on. Because, I mean, you're right. While y'all were there, it was, what limited communication we had was, I was just jealous the whole time. I was just green with jealous rage. And y'all were just clearly having the absolute time of your life. And then you got back and everyone was just settled into this deep, dark depression. And I was like, maybe it's a good thing I didn't go. Like, I'm happier than these people right now.
But he went to the beach, dude. You're like, I'm having a blast. I just want to sleep.
I've been chilling, but no, I mean, now it kind of just feels like we can all kind of focus on the actual announcements themselves, like the things that we have, to look forward to. And we're kind of all just back on the same train and on the same fun journey. So it's nice to be kind of reunited, even though I give y'all a hard time about leaving me behind.
Yeah, no, it is nice to all be able to be like, all right, now we all got to wait on the StarWars.com again for the next thing. And we'll all be in the same kind of place of trying to take as many bathroom breaks as possible at our jobs to make sure we're caught up. But before we get into some of those announcements, come on.
Don't you work from home?
Not me.
Yeah, I still sneak into the bathroom to check my phone because it's programmed within me. But before we get into Friday, which began with the nonfiction panel, Wes, I want to highlight you a bit, man, because I know Corey said he didn't buy too much. I showed off what I bought last week a little bit, but you got a pretty decent haul from Star Wars Celebration.
I got some things.
I'd love to, let's do a little show and tell here if you don't mind.
Okay. So I was keeping myself from buying all the stuff on the showroom floor. So there's all kinds of stuff that I wanted to purchase. There were t-shirts. There were old, 3 3/4 inch figure. There were so many, what is the one that's like, one is blue and one is like gray and one of them is like $2,000. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, the blue snaggletooth.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think somebody had that there. But so I kept myself within a budget, sort of. So I'll start with I'll start with one of the coolest things that we got, and it was free. And this is the Utini pins. You can see that?
Yeah. Oh man.
These were the coolest things and we gave out a lot of these, and I saw these on people's backpacks, and I saw them on their shirts. So I was really happy that I got one of these. I had to bribe Corey; he wouldn't give me one. But
that is not true.
So Wednesday we went to Galaxy's Edge, and we went to Oga's Cantina, started drinking at 8:30 in the morning. So I took a coaster. So this is one of the coasters. Eric, I think you got a set.
Okay.
I was too afraid to ask. So I just took one of the coasters that was on the bar. But then we went out by Ronto Roasters and into some of those little shops there. That was great. And we picked up a Sabacc game. So we got Sabacc.
Those are sick. I love those.
They were super cool. And then there was a booklet on the table where the cashier was. And he was like, well, what is that? And he was like, I don't think that you can handle this kind of danger. And I was like, thank God you're in character. I
Oh my
love this.
God, they
I was
got
like,
you.
You know
They
what?
got you.
I was like, you know what? I think I can do it. And he was like, well, look here, sir. And he like starts flipping these pages, and it's like a scavenger hunt for 6-year-olds. So I was like, I'm gonna do it. So we took those booklets
You're like,
and we had a great
I'm gonna
time.
beat the ass of those little 6-year-olds. That's what I'm gonna do.
So we ended up going over to Doc Ondar's and spent too much money on lightsabers. So a friend of mine got the Ventress lightsaber.
Yes.
And I think that one connects to Darth Maul's lightsaber. So it's kind of they're basically the same thing, just in different colors. But I picked up the best lightsaber of all time. It is the Dooku's hilt.
Yes.
So I picked up this guy, and right before I picked it up, a man had asked for it, and I thought I thought the lady had said, "Oh, that's the last one we got." And I was gonna be like, "Nah, dude, that one's gonna be mine." But I mean, this guy,
I will duel you for this.
There's a guy that is not working for the cashiers. He's kind of like the bus boy, and he's just carting in lightsabers every 10 minutes. He's just like. Lightsabers. I was just like he just kept coming with lightsabers, and people just kept buying them. And like right before I bought mine, someone had purchased like $2,500 in lightsabers and the tubes. And so I was like,
Oh my
all right,
God.
man. A buddy of mine also got his, so I got mine shipped home, which is a fantastic idea, Eric.
Smart,
and,
yes.
He
Good.
got Rey's reforged lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, the
yes.
Anakin
I
lightsaber
love that
has the
one.
leather on
And
it. Yeah.
it's so cool. And I'm supposed to
Got
give
like
it to
scorch
him.
marks and stuff.
Yeah, I'm supposed to give it to him, but I think I'm just gonna keep it. So
That
only
lightsaber
got lost in
belongs
the
to
mail.
you. Yeah.
it only got lost in the
Exactly.
mail. So moving on, Friday night we went to the Anaheim Angels game, and we sat in the outfield deck front row trying to get a home run ball. Never got one, but they did give out these bobbleheads. Shohei Tani, Juan Kenobi. So it's Shotani as a Obi-Wan character where he has his
Dumb
robe,
baseball marketing.
and he has a lightsaber as a baseball bat. So I was like, we got to go and get these things. So we made sure we got there really early. And then I think Saturday was the day I was walking around the show floor, and I went by the Gentle Giant booth. And I don't know if it was the Gentle Giant booth, but it had all of them. And it had like the Star Wars concept art ones of Luke Skywalker, who looks like he looks like Kyle Katarn. It's weird. It looks very strange. So there was a lot of these Gentle Giant busts, and I had one that I got from that giant stupid mystery box.
Oh, the Sand Trooper. Right?
Yeah, there it is, mystery box.
Yeah, so I got this one in a $180 mystery box, and I took this and I gave my friends all the other stuff. But so I got this one. And I really liked it. I was like, this is actually really, the detail on it is amazing. So I wanted to get something like super obscure. The concept art ones were pretty cool. I think I wanted to do that. But then I saw 3 of these characters. They had the 2012 celebration. I forgot where that was, but this is a 2012 celebration exclusive, and it's one of 1,500 that they made, and it is Admiral Mahdi getting choked, and he's grabbing at his neck.
I see why you bought that, Wes.
So I thought this was really neat because it's very obscure. If somebody saw this, like, you know, in your dining room or something, they were like, "What the hell is that?" And you're like, "If you don't know, then I'm not telling you." So,
do you like hold your hand up to that as you walk past it?
like,
Don't frighten us with your sorcerous ways, Lord Vader.
The horrible thing is, I know these fingers right here are going to break off. Somebody's going to break
100%.
these damn things off. So
100%.
I have to be very
Doc's
careful.
just gonna grab
with
it one day and
Be
start
very
running with
careful.
it.
But that was kind of my haul.
Wow.
And
That's a lot, dude.
I kept it. I kind of kept it down. I walked on Saturday. I was like, walked by that Gentle Giant booth. I don't know. I walked by it on Wednesday. Walked by it on Thursday. Walked by it on Friday. I was like, I'm not going to do it. And then I was like, well, there's $150 right down the drain.
Yeah. Well, that's the test, right? Is that I think at Celebration, if you're not at the store, that's kind of a good rule of thumb, is to like make sure you really want something, because there are certain one-of-a-kind items. Obviously, if you're walking by, they may be gone the next day. But if you think it's going to be there for a couple days, sleep on it.
Yeah.
Sleep
The
on
Admiral Mahdi boxes, there were dust all over them.
You don't. Those weren't flying off the shelves.
Yeah,
the Admiral Mahdi.
I think they've been there since the 2012 celebration. They've been trying to sell them. So
The guys
they
just
got
out there
me real
yelling,
good.
like, there's only 100 in availability.
Yeah.
Only 100. Come on.
I was looking for the cashier to pay for it, and this guy was just talking to somebody, and he was like, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had a Star Wars like hero moment there," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "That was Barriss Offee," and I was like, "Excuse me?" He's like, "The one from the Clone Wars, the Clone Wars TV show." He's like, "No, dude, the one from the movie," and I was like, "Why didn't you tell me, man?" Like I could have said something to her. God, but yeah, so she came by and said hello to that guy that was doing the Gentle Giant booth.
Wow.
That's
Was
cool.
she also
Holy
looking
smokes.
for an Admiral Mahdi?
I didn't even
Was she
notice
her. That is a
He
solid
didn't recognize her
haul,
because she
Wes.
wasn't
I had a good
green,
haul.
you know?
Yeah, I had a good haul.
Yeah. All
So
right.
that was fun.
My gosh, I love that. And also, if any of y'all listening or watching, if you have celebration hauls, I know a lot of people have been putting them on Twitter. I've loved seeing those. Come over to our Discord, throw them in the Star Wars Celebration channel. If you want to look for a place where folks are going to be like, that's amazing. I'm going to validate you spending that amount of money. There's no better place than Utini, baby. We will be happy for you spending any kind of money you want and showing off your cool thing. Because nothing's better than having a cool thing, except for showing off the cool thing to people that appreciate the cool thing.
Agreed.
So I love that. Happy for you, Wes. Now, we're going to time travel back to last week. My God, it's already been a week, but it's only been a week. It's like in the middle of that. To Friday. So Friday morning, as I shared last weekend, began with me and Charlie meeting Ewan McGregor, but we went past that, and we're going to go to the nonfiction panel. This was the panel, obviously, with our friends from DK, from Insight Editions. We like to feature the reference books a lot on this show because we love the art books. We love the in-galaxy books. And one thing, the first big announcement was a book that I don't think any of us really have a lot of experience with, and that is a lifestyle book. And it was called Star Wars Every Day. That's coming from Ahsoka Tano herself, Ashley Eckstein, who was actually at the panel, which is kind of amazing, and Kelly Knox, who has wrote Be More Obi-Wan that's coming out soon, a huge presence on StarWars.com as a writer and also Star Wars Twitter. And it was kind of a cool little thing. This has like a bunch of crafts. If you follow Kelly at all, she's done a lot of crafts on StarWars.com. And have you guys noticed, like, Ashley Eckstein's been getting a lot into this mindfulness stuff lately?
Yeah, she has.
This book
I have
teaches me a lot about that.
I have two comments about Ashley Eckstein that I learned at Celebration. First of all, we were parked over on the side of the Lego booth, which was right next to the kids stage or whatever that was over there. And Ashley Eckstein multiple times during like all the days, like come out and did these like little mindfulness things with the kids. And she would actually come on the stage and like say the thing, and it was cool. And it was kind of neat to sort of overhear that, like from the UT booth. That was interesting. And I also learned that they might have done Ashley Eckstein a little dirty with the new Mandalorian stuff. She said on some panel, I don't know if it was this one, on some panel that she's never met Rosario Dawson, never talked to her about her portrayal of Ahsoka and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, and she kind of said it in a way like she was a little offended by that. Like, is the way the vibe that I kind of take, which sucks, man. That sucks. Like, come on.
You
like,
think they collaborate a little bit, you know?
Yeah. You would think that, or at least introduce them. I mean, come on. Billy D. Williams like sat down with what's his name? Childish Gambino. It's the only way I could ever name him. And talk to him all about Lando and stuff. So I don't know. That bothered me. But yeah, Ashley Eckstein is doing all kinds of really cool stuff with Star Wars and mindfulness, and seems to be involved in a lot of those different projects. Those I'm not sure if you guys caught any of that, but the video of her like doing the meditation and stuff that they played kind of throughout the day is really professional. I mean, it's like it looks like she's on Star Wars planets. It was cool.
Yeah. It's on Star Wars Kids now as well, the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel. It's a separate YouTube channel, so especially if you got kids or if you're just interested, check that out. It's got all her mindfulness things that they released on the channel. And also, shout out my friend Sarah Bermudez, who works at Disneyland, actually does the How to Draw Star Wars characters on that channel. And she rocks. So go watch Sarah, go watch Ashley Eckstein, get mindful, and look out for that book that's coming out. We also got a bunch of cool tidbits about battles that define the galaxy. This book came out during COVID. We did a little mini review of it when it came out. It's freaking awesome. If y'all remember, it's like a World War II historian account of the battles of Star Wars, and they kind of went over that with a bunch of those authors. And then what is maybe the biggest moment of one of our Utini staff members' lives occurred. And that was the official look and reveal of an upcoming book called Star Wars Timelines, which we had all thought looks great. We got to see some of the inner spreads. And this is written by a bunch of amazing people, including one of people that I love so dearly, Amy Rakow, who actually, and I got to tell the story, y'all. She came up to the booth on Sunday morning to just say hi. We're mutuals on Twitter. I've loved Amy for years. We got to chat. We finally got to meet. And Trev was there. And Trev was like, oh my God, so a Star Wars Timeline book. I'm the most excited I've ever been for anything. For those of you that may not know, Trev is our watcher of the timeline. He is the guy that curates the timeline, picks the dates, makes sure that everything is accurate. This is his livelihood. And Amy literally told him that she has used his timeline on utini.com to double check some things for the timeline book. And y'all, I've never seen a happier man in my entire life. Straight up. Like,
I thought he was gonna have a stroke.
Beautiful.
Look at him in this picture. He looks like he
was.
is like his head's about to explode any given moment. I
That
know.
is
this was
the most validating thing you could tell somebody is that your company, your official corporation uses your information for their stuff. So that's very validating.
big deal, guys. Big deal for us at Utini.
Yeah,
It was
really
cool.
cool.
Really
No one
cool.
deserves it more than Trev. And this timeline book, interesting. So Indiana Trucker makes a great point. Only thing that's a bummer about that book is that within a couple years, that book will probably be a little out of date, which is possible. And I think this is an interesting thing.
It's a marketing thing.
Exactly. The Essential Atlas gets updated because there will also be a galaxy map that was revealed. There was a poster. I don't have it on me now, but they gave out a poster about it. But guys, what do you think about that concept actually as we kind of talk about this book? This is a book that is the timelines of Star Wars from High Republic on down. They talked a lot about it. There's spreads that we actually tweeted out today. Go over to UTD_US if you haven't. Check those out. What do you think about books like these that are kind of evergreen content, but by definition will need to be updated?
I used something like this. You guys remember that sort of Legends-y book by Pablo Hidalgo, and I think Jason Fry was involved, and it had Yoda reading a book on the cover. Remember, really cool artwork, the Essential Companion. Yeah. I used that for the longest time, and I used it for inspiration to create the first timeline stuff at Utini and all that kind of stuff. So we're no stranger to these types of books, and I like them. I think they're fun. I think it's fun to have something to reference when you want something a little more visual, a little bigger than something like the Utini timeline, right? When you want more information, and also from an official source as well. It makes it's a big deal. I won't be surprised if we have to take something like this and Trevor is going to comb the living shit out of it and read every single word like 100 times. So we'll have something bigger and more official to cross-reference the Utini timeline with, which we will absolutely do. So I'm excited by this project.
Yeah, I think it's great to sit down as you're watching Clone Wars, as you're watching Rebels, anything really, and saying how this all connects together. Because some of that stuff you'll never know where these parts connect with Rebels, where these parts kind of connect with Star Wars Resistance. So all of that, it helps you kind of see where this all fits in together. And that's one of the big things I like about those timeline books. Especially, I just flip back through utini.com to be honest with you. Not because I'm a shill, but because it's helpful.
And now you'll have this glorious timeline book. Also, shout out to our friend Kelly Knox, just arrived in the chat. Famed author of Star Wars Every Day. Kelly, we cannot wait for that and be more Obi-Wan. Make sure to not only pre-order Kelly's books, but also read all her articles because they fill you with love and joy of Star Wars. She's amazing. Charles, I got a pop quiz for you.
What's that?
Hot shot.
You weren't at this panel, but you better know this answer. Indiana Trekker asked us in the chat, will this timeline book only include what's on screen or also the books and comics? Charles, pop quiz. What do you think?
50-50. I'm going to say it includes books and comics.
You're wrong, Charles, because it includes books, comics, and games. And I got you. I'm sorry. I'm a stinker.
That was not cool. Yeah, it's comprehensive. It's a comprehensive book that covers all the different Star Wars timelines, all through all the different mediums, and that's it's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this was an incredible an incredible panel that really outlined all that. And as each of the authors about Star Wars timeline spoke, you could hear how much they loved doing each of their individual things, and they were like cross-referencing different media, different types, and they each kind of got assigned different eras. So like, I cannot wait for this. It's coming out later this year. But we also got a brand new book announced that I had not heard of before this panel, and it's written by the esteemed and lovely Kristen Baver, and it is called Star Wars 100 Objects. And I thought this was such an interesting concept for a book, because essentially it is the idea that we're going to take 100 props from the history of Star Wars. And it can be things like Darth Vader's helmet. It can be things like a Wookiee instrument horn that's there, the Chance Cube. And Kristen Baver has now written this book that is going to tell the history of Star Wars using only 100 items. And y'all, I have never considered something like this, but I'm kind of already obsessed with it. Like, it's like I think they mentioned like the British Museum for Star Wars.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean,
cool.
these kind of books are fun. It's very much in the same vein as these sort of like Star Wars encyclopedias, where they have all the behind the scenes stuff and it names all the stuff. And like that was really fun with the sequel trilogy to go through and be like, this is some random object from Kylo Ren's I don't know, bedside table. You know what I mean? Like, it was just goofy like that.
What in the world was on Kylo Ren's bedside table? Hold on.
That's a whole episode.
Well, first of all, a gun. Second of all,
fan fiction. All right.
There's a ring where he left kept his cup because he didn't lose a coaster. He
never uses coasters.
all his like entry bands for all his music festivals and concerts, because nobody knows where else to put those.
So did y'all see talking about the Mask of Darth Vader? Did you see that at Doc Ondar's? They sell that.
Yeah, I did.
Unbelievable.
It's like $400, I think. I saw that. It was really sick.
That was one thing I did.
Yeah, Wes, you thought about that.
I did a couple times.
All right.
This book kind of looks to me or sounds to me like a in-universe or like a real universe Quinlan Voss's ability, where he can touch an object and see its history. It's kind of like if we could do that with Star Wars props.
That'd be amazing. Oh, you mean totally future star of Kenobi, Quinlan Voss?
Yep.
Hopefully. Let's play a little hypothetical game here before we get to the next panel, guys. There's 100 objects in this book. What is one of them? Charles, you got to guess. What's one you think might make the cut?
100 objects?
100 objects.
This
is a tough one. This is not in the outline. I will own this, y'all. I'm springing this on these guys and myself. It's why I always go last in these questions.
I think the head of that frog that Jabba spits at the gun. probably that has to be on.
That's what made the cut, huh? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Awesome. Head of frog. Ooh, I like in the chat, Count Dooku's pajamas.
Oh,
I like that.
I spent a lot of credits to get that on Battlefront.
As did I. We all did.
I want the little flute thing that Yoda has hanging around his neck that we've never heard play or anything. Like, please give me that.
That's
you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The little. I don't know what the instrument's called, but
Yoda's flute, great.
Piccolo.
Ooh, Justin got one. Qui-Gon's comlink, that is just a razor.
Yes.
The comlink
everybody's
has
mom
to be one.
had that razor in the bathtub in the 90s. Everybody's did.
Yeah, and we all tried to test our blood for midichlorians, right? And I was like, you know what? Let's just see. Wes, what about you?
Ochi of Bestoon's knife. That's going to be in there easily.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Boring.
That's
It's going to be in there,
one.
of course.
No, you're right. You're right, though. You're right.
You right?
You're right. You know what? You're right. I will say, I'm trying to go like slightly beaten path, but there's also so many ones that I think just make sense. History of all Star Wars. Like
the dice.
I think
the dice have got to be in there from the
chance-
Falcon.
Han Solo's dice.
Oh, Han Solo's dice. I'm gonna take that as mine because I love those dice. They're also in my car. Han Solo's dice.
And
God, I love Solo.
Wes, you got dice in your truck?
No.
Oh,
Not
man.
at all.
We're going to have to get you some dice.
Yeah. So
The
look
not
out for
fuzzy
that.
kind.
Star Wars 100 Objects by Kristen Baver, and see which 100 objects are going to be there and see if we're all right. Looking at the chat, we got Dex Dexter's cooking apron. We got the Japor snippet necklace. Anakin makes for Padme. The training orb. Maybe the rock that Luke throws in Return of the Jedi to crush the Rancor. Maybe that'll be in there.
I was going to say the thermal detonator rock from Solo.
Yeah. You made a clicking noise with your mouth. No, I didn't. So we went from the amazing nonfiction panel. Obviously, so many books panels to start this off, going from Del Rey to High Republic to nonfiction. It was a very busy Thursday into Friday. And then we had something pretty low-key and fun, which was the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. I saw this streaming on an overflow stage, and y'all, there were a lot of fun kind of highlights of this, but easily, I think the best part about this was watching the interplay later in the panel between Ewan and Hayden. They came for like the last 10 minutes, but the star of this was absolutely Tim Morrison and Daniel Logan. If y'all were watching, Tim Morrison,
some of the footage online.
It's the funniest dude.
Nut job, dude.
Yeah, we watched
stage,
this.
It's amazing.
He just kept talking. Just kept going.
Yeah.
He's a
Bless
fun
her heart,
guy.
Ashley
In
Eckstein.
the documentary, whatever, behind the scenes of Book of Boba Fett he was absolutely the highlight of that, and he's like a truly fun guy to be around. Like him and what's his name playing the guitar together and stuff. The whole filming of Robert Rodriguez. Filming all this. That was fun, man. Really, really fun.
Yeah. So that was just a total blast, and just to highlight it, if you saw some highlights from it or some clips, it was just really everyone celebrating the show. I would say there probably wasn't I guess the applause level for Ewan and Hayden throughout the weekend was insane, but the Ahmed Best moment I think was so special in Phantom Menace. I don't think there was quite one that was exactly like that, but the raucous laughter and watching Daniel Logan quite literally cry out of laughing before he was even introduced because Tim Morrison just kept ripping out bangers was really the best part about that. We went on through the day on Friday as well. All the High Republic authors signed together for the one and only time. I know a bunch of us got some books signed. We got some posters signed, and really just meeting all those folks in one room was as beautiful as you probably think it would be. They are some of the warmest, most creative, fun people. And not only was it fun to obviously chat with them for the first time, like face to face, after talking to them on Zoom or talking to them on Twitter for so long, it really just kind of, filled me with a satisfaction and a joy to watch these 5 people who became really good friends on Skywalker Ranch years ago finally get to reunite in person.
Yeah,
and it was lovely to see the love. Like there was a freaking line for them, y'all. Like we were packed in there for books. And I know we love these things. And I know if you're watching or listening, you love these books too. But it was just so validating and cool to see people like line up and queue like for 5 authors. And it will just never be not cool to me to watch that happen.
That was super cool. Kind of piggybacking off of that, I went by the Del Rey booth and just like sat back against the wall, kind of like, and then watched like everybody like buy all these books because one of my buddies Kyle came and he picked up Light of the Jedi. He also picked up Kenobi. So he said he hasn't never read Kenobi. Nice. He's like, you got to get that, man, before we start really getting into that series.
That's 2 out of the 6.
Yeah. So
getting there.
I was just sitting back and watching all these people pick up these books, and I was like, wow, this is really awesome. We finally, like, you're probably getting maybe half the people there that have never or haven't regularly read a Star Wars book before. They might find something they really like and then stumble upon us and then really get into it and then, lose all their free time. So it was super cool to see, especially at that Del Rey booth.
Yeah. And I see this message in the chat. I do want to highlight this memory that I'm sure Emma will talk about on Wednesday night. But our friend Emma was there with us and lining up for the High Republic authors. And Emma brought to be signed, because we all had to pick a thing, right? Like I brought my poster that's behind me. Some folks got the massive 3-book set signed. Some people brought comics. And Emma brought a print that she had bought from the artist Jake Bartok. If you don't know him, Jake Bartok, one of the coolest fan artists, now official cover artists in the Star Wars community. And for a while now, he's been drawing these High Republic characters. And like they're amazing. So Emma bought a print of his to get signed by all of them. And we all knew this. And we're in line waiting to get them signed. And I go, Emma, look behind you. And behind her, waiting in line to get stuff signed, is Jake Bartok, the artist. So she takes out her poster tube, unrolls it, and goes, "Hey, Jake." He looks, she turns around and just shows him she's holding his print to get signed, and he was just blown away. He signed it for her as well. So now she has 6 signatures on that.
Wow.
And it was those kind of moments that really made Celebration so cool, because these people that make freaking Star Wars are just as big a fan of Star Wars
for sure.
as we are.
And that's what's so cool about the book community too, is it's a lot smaller and everybody's a little more down to earth. And like we had a ton of moments with authors and folks like this throughout the weekend. People would come by the booth and say hello, and that was super fun. I mean, it was super cool. Like it felt like we were really there, and everybody knew who we were, and that was so cool. And Christian Baver was so cool, and met like a bunch of us, and we kept recognizing people like, "Oh, you're with Utini," and I was like, "That's just warms my heart, man."
Yeah, it was.
The whole week was like that.
Unreal. And speaking of people pointing people out, I gotta give props to Charlie, my lovely partner, who, as I said, we went to Disneyland after dark, and we were walking around. And we're walking around Disneyland, and we did a lightsaber meetup, which is a photo we'll get to in a second. But before that, we were walking around, and she was like, "Hey, look up." And I was like, "What?" I looked up because I was exhausted and weary, and all 5 High Republic authors, or 4 of them, I think Claudia Gray went to bed early, went boom, right past me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Just walking around Disneyland. So I did run up because I'm who I am, and I finally got the first ever picture of my life. With a man who I, in all sincerity, love very, very dearly. I got to run into Kevin Scott at Disneyland, and we got this lovely photo. This is clearly I'm faking all that emotion right there. It was just a really surreal moment to see. One, to see them just walking around Disneyland like regular folks as they are. But it was really amazing to happen to run into Kevin out of the tens of thousands of people that were around, which then, of course, led us to go to the giant lightsaber meetup. And I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this thing, but if you go to these Star Wars nights at Disneyland, you can just go to the Millennium Falcon at a certain time. It's like literally on a schedule. And you go, and every single person in the park that has a lightsaber just goes in and ignites them all at the same time. And like, it's busy and it's crowded and it's whatever, but everyone turns them off, and then Ray came out and kind of gave this speech and was like, "Ignite for the resistance!" And y'all, everyone turned on their lightsabers at the same moment, and it was kind of a beautiful experience. I was really blown away by like all these people just holding these frankly overpriced tubes.
I know,
but like,
listen, the lightsaber thing. I want to back up for a second because I haven't mentioned this either. Galaxy's Edge. I also got to do Galaxy's Edge for the first time this trip. And Wes, you did too, right? It was the first time you'd ever been as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so like Caitlin and I went with Emma, and like she really hooked us up and planned everything. It was so fantastic, and we pretty much only did the Galaxy's Edge stuff. I know Eric, you ran around and did a whole bunch of other stuff that morning. We only did Galaxy's Edge stuff because we had to go set up the Utini booth later in that afternoon. And I gotta say, I was utterly blown away with the quality of everything. I know everybody says that, and it's a broken record at this point, but like it truly, I mean, I didn't believe it. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, well, you hear the roller coaster, you really don't. I mean, it feels like you're in Star Wars when you're there, and you can't see anything, and the way all the rides are so immersive, and like you start in Batuu and the ride brings you back to Batuu at the end of the ride, and it's very, very immersive. And so I get it. Like it is weirdly emotional. Like it wasn't like that at first. Like when you first walk into the park, I'm like, I'm at Disney World, but like,
whoa, Corey, you were at Disneyland.
Sorry, Disneyland. That's right. But like after you're there for a while, I know it really feels like you're there, and like you really get into all the stuff. And the lightsaber thing was super emotional. I built one too. This is my lightsaber. I built the Elemental one. Right? Yeah. I know. That was incredible. I also cried during that. Everybody says you're going to cry. I'm like, I'm not going to cry. Come on. It's a bunch of kids like making lightsaber stuff. I literally cried. Like the John Williams music will make you cry doing the lightsaber thing. All right. It's a really moving experience. So I get it. I can see what you're saying, Eric, with like everybody doing that thing at the same time. It does feel very immersive. And no, it's not immersive in the way that we're like, oh, I'm actually a Jedi. I'm actually there. There's something deeper than that, I think, for us as Star Wars fans, of like getting to participate in a way of like it's more than that. It's a more of a symbol of what this means to all of us, I think, in that moment. And it's cool. Those photos are really cool, and seeing how all the actors and everybody in the park is so on board with all that stuff is awesome. And I love it. I wish I could have gone. Star Wars Night sounds like it was a blast.
There's connotation now for the lightsaber meetup, right? Because that's something that's been going on for a while, but now the whole For Light and Life, I mean, that's like a very, for those of us that read the books and the comics, I think, those moments are kind of burned into our brains. So that's where my mind went just looking at that picture, Eric.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Did you see Maul just staring at you, Eric? Let me see if I can zoom in. See if I can zoom in on this picture. Right there. Look at him staring at you. Isn't that weird?
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Oh, that is
now that's
funny,
all I can
dude.
see. Now
thanks for ruining my beautiful moment here, Wes.
Demented Where's Waldo?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was a lovely night. And then the upside, if you are a Disney fan, a Disney Parks fan, if you go on a Star Wars night, everyone goes to Batu, so you can go on all the Fantasyland rides, and there's no lines. Which Charlie and I did. We went to Peter Pan in like 10 minutes. If you know, you know.
Oh man.
It was incredible. But then we went to Saturday morning. This was the shortest night of sleep for me. This was a rough day, but it was so fun because it started off with Charlie and I getting tickets we didn't think we were going to be able to get, but we did. And it was totally worth it because we got to go to a breakfast hosted by Ashley Eckstein and Matt Lanter. And it was very informal, very chill. And at the end of it, I was very shocked because they literally ran around the entire room and took selfies with everybody after a Q&A. So we got to get this selfie with freaking Anakin and Ahsoka, and I am not well in that picture.
You were very tired by this day. I don't know how you kept it together for our panel that morning.
It was wild, but truly, I mean, everything we're saying here is broken record at this point, right? But, I mean, Matt Lanter, yes, as we said earlier, look, he's immaculate. He's beautiful.
Piercing blue eyes.
Get out. Piercing.
This picture off. I don't want to look at him anymore.
But, they were as kind as you've always thought they were. They just chatted for half an hour about Clone Wars, about anything. People could just ask any kind of questions, and their friendship was beautiful to see. And it was a really perfect way to start the day. It was the first protein breakfast I had all week. So that was a
you talked about that so much. Like I was like legitimately concerned for Eric's nutrition at this point because he was just
not
like,
good.
Guys, I had sausage for breakfast this morning. I'm just like, dude, you need to like take a break or something, man. Like you did some Pedialyte or something. Jesus.
That was the rough thing. But luckily I got a good breakfast and I got my energy up because the real first celebration thing of the day was something that we were working towards the whole time, and it was our panel. And as we said, it's on YouTube right now, but guys, we did a panel. There's all of us in front of mics, in front of a backdrop. I mean, God, I've said so much about it already. I mean,
I've been trying to think if there's anything else really even to tell. Go watch it on YouTube if you haven't seen it yet. It was a lot of fun.
I want to say something about this because I've gone back and watched it, and I just want to say that I'm actually super proud of all of y'all for pulling that off, because there is a difference. Like maybe it helped to do this podcast every week, but there is a difference between that and having to kind of perform live in front of a group of people. Eric, I'm sure you appreciate that as an actor. And also it wasn't like it was us four up there. Like it was a mix of the live shows. And,
right.
And I think it speaks towards sort of the community here and the camaraderie here amongst the team members that you're actually able to go and pull that off. Like no redos, no please stand by, technical difficulties, screen.
No.
Like no, you had to one shot,
get it right,
and you guys nailed it, honestly. So
thanks, man. Appreciate that.
I'm really proud of y'all. I had a ton of fun watching the panel on YouTube, just like straight up as a fan.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, we really tried to, if you're not going to watch it, the theme of the panel was essentially kind of a history of Star Wars books, and then kind of merged into, we talked about the old days of like the novelizations and how they came out like 6 months before the movies, and that was crazy. And then like Splinters of the Mind's Eye. And then we talked about like Legends, and then what happened when Disney sort of changed it up and how canon is evolving. Like it was sort of like a positive spin on like the history of Star Wars books from people who have been there since the beginning and have been reading the books forever and are really meshed into that culture. And this is why you should listen to us and not anybody else, like, because everybody that's crapping on how bad canon is on the internet is wrong. And like, it was good. We didn't say things like that. I mean, but it was like, we had people come up to us that were like, I haven't read anything since like the Legends thing, just because I felt like you guys said, like, it really hurt me. And like, I felt like they were ignoring all of us and disregarded how we felt about things. But, I see now that like, that's not what they did at all. And it was a creative choice. And it sounds like some of the new canon stuff is first. And I took a picture of the books that you showed on the screen that have recommendations, and I'm going to go pick up some of those. And like, that is why we created UTini. So to be able to like kind of do that live as an expression of what we do and how we really feel, that meant like a ton to me. And it turned out really good, and we got a lot of really positive feedback, and that really meant a lot to me. It's seriously one of the highlights of anything that I've ever done in regards to Star Wars and UTini, and I can't believe we made it. I always said, if we ever make it a celebration, I'm going to feel like we made it, and I'm like, I feel like we're at this like new level now, and it's been so fun. It was so fun. Emma said it was a blast. She was so fun too, by the way. Emma absolutely killed it. Her and Freddie both did. The four of us, like you said, Charles, have never even podcasted together. Freddie and Emma, we've had them both on the Living Force individually, but the four of us have never done things together.
It was like a UTini draft where you drafted podcast hosts in the random combination.
It was, but they all nailed it. They all had really great things to say about sort of their area of expertise, and it worked out really nicely. And Emma's comments about the history of comics and how weird they were, and Leia summoning of dark force matter from the center of the planet to disintegrate somebody or something nuts was like, that was a crazy story. Yeah. And
we hit all the UTini. We hit Jackson. We hit Naked Palpatine. It was good little mishmash of everything. It was
good.
Yeah,
it was super cool to see people nodding in agreement. There was, and then more people coming in because like, I think their friends were texting like, "Hey man, you got to get in here." And so like a lot of the people that are listeners of the show, and a lot of them were not listeners of the show, but they were also like, they were getting into it. Y'all were very personable with your comments and with what you were talking about, and the slides were great. They were great visuals to put up there. So if anybody didn't know what you were talking about, I mean, you have a visual of what you need to go buy at the Del Rey booth that day, and you probably sold a couple books just being at that panel.
Yeah. Anytime someone's like, "Oh, I like what you said. I bought a book," I'm like, "Great, that's it." That is the goal.
We did our job. Yeah, Tom came by at one point from the Del Rey booth. One of the editors at Del Rey we talk about a lot. He's kind of participates with our community a lot. He came by and said, yeah, people will keep coming by and say, "Hey, we talked to those UTini guys and we want to buy some books." So, that really means a lot. Like I said on the panel, like if I can even get somebody to have a tiny little inkling of the joy that I've gotten from this experience, and I will feel like I've achieved the mission that we set out to do. So it was a cool thing. And, we actually have the high quality audio now that I'm thinking about it. That guy, the sound guy, he was really cool. He used his personal USB drive and he saved the sound for me. And I have a high, like our voices going into mics, sound quality. Why don't I just edit that into a bonus episode for the feed? I should just do that. And,
awesome. Business meeting done.
It's easy. Business meeting done. I'll do that. Don't forget.
So if you haven't watched it on YouTube, you want to listen to that, I guess Corey's going to do that. Keep an eye out.
I got to edit Bounty Hunt anyway.
Yeah, and as Justin said, a lot of folks have been joining the Discord as well. So I hope that all y'all in the Discord have been super welcoming, obviously, because you are. And I hope you're having a great time meeting like-minded Star Wars fans. Now, they did very rudely schedule like a minor panel during the UTini panel called Mandalorian Plus. Which was fine, which was great. But it was the big panel of the day. They showed off the Mandalorian Season 3 teaser with a lot of footage about like Mandalore. I think there was an Anzellan in there, things like that. I'm sure they're going to be releasing similar things to that in the coming months. Rosario Dawson and Natasha Liu Bordizzo, who's playing Sabine, and Chopper himself came out, which is amazing because I love me some Chopper, because they actually talked about Ahsoka quite a bit during this panel and ended the panel by giving an Ahsoka teaser, which has been filming for like a couple weeks at this point, and it showed not only Rosario and Natasha, but also Hera, the Ghost, and Sabine, and the Rebels mural from the epilogue. So, y'all, what did you think about that? About Ahsoka not only having footage, but basically being a Rebels sequel?
I think it's definitely the most face melting moments of all of Star Wars Celebration. It seems like they got maybe even larger crowd reaction than Hayden and Ewan, which is wild. Yeah, I think I did catch. They were religious about making sure people do not film like the secret leaks and stuff. Like people were like every single panel we went to, people were walking up and down the aisles like no filming, no filming. Like they were really mean about it. But of course, all that was a gigantic waste because if one person gets it on YouTube, it's all over, right? And they did like 10 minutes after the panel was over, which is great because I got to see it. So thanks, Guy, for having anxiety during your panel to film that because that would really freak me out. I couldn't do it. I don't know how he did it. But I got to watch that. I got to watch the little tease at the end where it shows because it doesn't show like the actors, right? Like it's just like a mural of like the characters, isn't it?
It
right?
shows you don't see the actor for Hera. You see you see Ahsoka obviously, I don't think you see the face.
I don't think you see anybody's faces. They brought out Sabine, but I don't think they didn't show any footage with any of the characters, right? So, that's crazy. We all knew this is what it was going to be. We all knew it, but this is the most Filoni verse. Like this feels like a weird climactic moment for the Filoni verse in my opinion.
I didn't think we'd get the ghost. Yeah. I thought Ahsoka and Sabine would be on a thing. I didn't think we're getting Hera and Chopper. I was very
that's a good point.
Emotional. Charles, obviously, because none of us were in that panel. You're right here with us, baby. So how was finding out what the Ahsoka show is actually about affect you?
It was like both shocking and not shocking at the same time, right? Like it's one of those things that makes so much sense, but you would never sit there and be like, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but I mean, how many breadcrumbs has Filoni left along the way? And he's got a great track record of going back and picking things up that, you know, you kind of expect him to. So of course he was going to get around to this eventually. I didn't know it was going to be the Ahsoka series, but it makes a ton of sense. And I think seeing the crowd reaction or at least hearing about the crowd reaction and knowing how I felt when I was able to see the footage, Rebels is another kind of weird pocket of fandom. Like people that have watched Rebels, like there's an
are cooler than those who have not.
Maybe.
that is
but no, there is like this innate understanding, you know, of like, man, this was an incredible series. Like the story is really good. It's 100% worth watching if you haven't. And going back and listening to Eric and Charlie's podcast on the matter, Ghost Crew.
We were going to record it this week, but then I got COVID. So it's coming back.
But yeah, no, truly incredible moment.
I was not keeping up with the rumors and leaks about the information coming from Ahsoka and what it could mean. But this kind of floored me. I just saw the notes on it. I didn't actually see the panel. So I was like, what is all this about Hera? What is this about? Ezra? Is Ezra in the show? Is that just some kind of maybe? Is that who they were talking about kind of thing? And I was just like, wow, because Rebels holds a special place in my heart because I caught it when it was going on like the regular Disney Channel live.
Disney XD.
Yeah, Disney XD. I caught it in like season 2 and I finished it all the way through. So that was really cool. That's when y'all were like 16 years old, I guess.
We were in
we were like 12, you know.
I watched that on demand on my phone in the substitute teacher's lounge while I was airing. Okay, so that's what I was doing.
Listen, Wes fought Nom. All right, he's older than all of us.
That's right.
But yeah, I can't believe we're getting the continuation of Rebels, and I'm also very excited because just as like the Mandalorian, we know caused a lot of folks to go back and watch Clone Wars, that's gonna happen now with Ahsoka and Rebels. So very excited for that. But of course, that wasn't the only thing about the Mandalorian that happened at Star Wars Celebration. On the first day, Favreau and Filoni actually came out and said, "Hey, we missed you guys so much because Celebration hadn't happened since the Mandalorian premiered." That they actually, quite literally, put a bunch of the Mandalorian set and props in trucks and drove it over and created what they called the Mandalorian experience. Corey, I know you went to this before us. I went as well, but I want to give you the floor. What was this like? This thing was amazing.
Yeah. I don't know, Wes. I don't know if you have any pictures of that anywhere handy. That was insane. I was the first person on the team to do it. Nice. There you go.
Me and Charlie rocking it out.
Yeah, sick. Like I got really lucky. Caitlin and I walked out of the. They actually announced this the first day, actually, Eric. They announced it at the 20th anniversary
the first
panel. Yeah. They announced it there, anyway, they announced it the first day, and they're like, yeah, so Lightning Lane is going to be open at 1 o'clock, and, that's how you can get in and whatever. And Kayla and I were standing in line in a food truck, and I'm like, didn't they say it was 1:05 or something like that? And they were like, didn't they say it opens at 1 or something like that? And I'm like, yeah. And Kayla was like, yeah, I think they did. And I just pulled it up on my phone. There was literally 0 wait for the Lightning Lane. It put me in like I could have any time I wanted. So I guess that everybody must have thought maybe that they couldn't get in, I guess, if they went immediately as soon as it opened. But I don't know. I just got really lucky, and I went down there, and it wasn't very crowded. There was nobody there. So we were some of the first people in, just period. And I immediately started sending pictures of the team. I'm like, because I didn't want to give it all away because you have to see it. But also I was like, holy shit, get your ass down here. You have to see this thing. And they literally brought they way undersold it on the panel.
Show the second picture, Wes.
We brought some set pieces.
Show the second picture here. This was the Pièce de Résistance, I believe.
Look at this.
The full-size N1.
Yeah, this is insane. The full-size N1, a full-size animatronic Bantha was in there. Full-size... The actual Rancor head, one of the ones that you saw in the behind-the-scenes thing that moved around, that was there. It was insane. And then Jon Favreau coincidentally walked in while we were down there, and he was like, "Hey guys, thanks for coming and checking it out." And everyone's like, "Oh, thanks, John. We really appreciate it." It was a wild experience.
And John, y'all are on a first name basis with him. That's
we're all friends here now, I guess.
Hey,
but
J-Dog.
The actual Darksaber was down there.
Yep.
And there's everything had tags on it, and if it said featured. Some of it said featured, it's the actual thing you see on screen. Yeah, look at these pictures. It was nuts. All these actual costumes, they way undersold it. It was intense.
Black Santin, he was for real, dude. That was the most. That was most detailed costume I've ever seen in my entire life, and you can see his feet.
I know.
They always try to cover that up.
They had. I mean, they must have had. They literally must have had 1,000 set pieces down there. They had all of the Tuskens from Book of Boba Fett.
Yep.
The woman, I guess this woman, actually, we've never really confirmed that. Bo-Katan, a bunch of Mandalorians were there. The Boba Fett stuff, Boba Fett's throne, that's what he's standing next to in that picture.
Grogu, the puppet, was actually in the N1 moving around, and it was wave at you.
There's
this was super cool that they had.
The Razor Crest cockpit with the little ball. You see it? Yep. You can see it down there. The little ball that Luke's always playing with or whatever. Yeah. I'm telling you, it blew us away. It absolutely blew us away. They even had some of the miniatures, Star Wars classically, all their spaceships are miniatures and stuff. They had some of the actual miniatures, like the Razor Crest, and the what's that small Imperial ship that's got 3 engines? It's not a Star Destroyer. It's small, but it's not it's very close to the Vintner class.
I know what you're talking about. It's escaping me. It's escaping me.
Heavily featured in Rebels and stuff. Yeah. They had miniature. It was big. I mean, it was 4 or 5 feet long.
Gazanti. Thank you, Justin.
Gazanti. Yeah, there you go. That's what it was. Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. Yeah, there's the Rancor. It was insane, guys. I'm telling you.
This was amazing.
This was the other big highlight. The two gigantic highlights of Celebration for me were the first panel where we amazingly were just treated like kings and got to go to the friggin' red carpet experience. And the second highlight was getting to see all this live action stuff, because none of us will ever see any of this again. This stuff is not open to the public ever. I mean, they put it in crates in the warehouse. Look at that.
Yes. I had no idea these things actually moved like this. And then we go in there and it's just walking around and making bantha noises like a bantha.
Insane.
Yeah. Absolutely surreal. So glad they decided to bring it in, because, I mean, when was the last time you went to a museum? Much less a freaking Star Wars museum.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. I took a 27-minute video. I started video right when I walked in, and I did a video of everything. So I could cut that up and put it in like as something for YouTube to see, just to go and see all the
with it.
Yeah.
I love that. It
was wild.
So happy we got that. And then, of course, one more big panel on Saturday, which was the Tales of the Jedi panel. This was the worst kept secret in Star Wars that this was going to be the new show.
Is it Reed Pop's fault? Or are they the ones that blew it? I think they are.
Yes, it's Reed Pop's fault.
Yeah.
Reed Pop's fault. They had one job.
Yeah. I got to say, though, they did do a great job of not telling us at all what this was, because I was completely blown away. This was featuring Amy Ratcliffe and Dave Filoni, mainly. They revealed this show is going to be 6 shorts that are coming out later this year. 3 of them will be about Ahsoka Tano, and 3 of them will be about Jedi Dooku. That's right, Dooku before he becomes Darth Tyrannus. And it was a really great time just to kind of hear Dave talk about how this all came to be. Basically, he just kind of jotted some stories down on plane rides to and from the Mandalorian set, showed them to Carrie Beck, and he's like, hey, you want to make these? And she's like, yeah, we'll find the money. And they did. And they kind of pitched these a little bit. If you want, I actually did a live tweet, again, on the Atini Twitter thread. We did a huge live tweet with a ton of concept art about it. I love these showing the young Dooku.
Look at that hilt.
But, yeah, the curved hilt that, Wes, you now own, of course. And what I also love is that Dave was like, you know what, rather than hear me talk about it, let's watch one. So we watched the entire first episode, which was about 15 minutes long, and it featured Ahsoka as a baby and focused mainly on her mother, who was voiced by Janina Gavankar, who's Iden Versio. And then she came out and did a whole interview about what it's like to play Ahsoka's mom, and it was this really incredible thing. And y'all, when this drops later this year, I'm going to call it right here. So many people have been. This is going to be the surprise hit of the year. These are all animated shorts, and
the animation is top notch too.
Y'all
it looks
watched one?
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah,
Holy
man.
Crap.
Very dialogue light overall. Dave talked about how I want these to be a lot more like kind of about emotion and vibe and environment. I'm not sure if the Dooku ones will be the same, but it was really a beautiful. It was just beautiful, and they had a giant talk about it, and then ended with a trailer that I'm sure they're going to release in the coming weeks, and it included a bunch of things. You know, we got to see Anakin and Ahsoka are going to be together again with Matt Lanter and Ashley Eckstein. Mm-hmm. Who did not tell me about it that morning at the breakfast. It's fine. But then, most importantly, we saw clips of Bail Organa, because 2022 is Bail Organa season. And then, I kid you not, freaking Yaddle. Yaddle was dueling Dooku. You're like, oh, does Yoda have hair in this? He does not. Definitely does not. You know who does famously have hair? Yaddle. So, I'm so excited for this. Obviously, Filoni doing any kind of Star Wars animation is amazing. This panel, much like with the show, I think it was a secret highlight for me. I had no idea I was going to be as excited as I was. Everyone walking out of it was absolutely buzzing. And when it comes later this year, I'm not sure if they're dropping them all at once because they're shorter, but they're not like, you know, Forces of Destiny, 4 or 5 minutes. These are 15-minute long, fully animated stories that will all have some kind of thread. So I'm stoked. I think starting this off with Ahsoka and Dooku might mean they're going to test it. And then do you guys think maybe we'll get more? I mean, do we do this with more characters? Do we do like 3 a little bit here? I mean, we're getting young Qui-Gon, we know. So like how many other characters might this include?
This would fill in gaps like between the movies that we're missing, right? So, I mean, we have the books. We have the books for that definitely, but this is just a visual aid as well that would help out.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer to me, honestly. I mean, they're making more Visions, which is much more obscure than these are going to be. So I think they'll
that's right. That's right. Season 2 of Visions got announced as well. It's not even an official panel we have because there were so many, but Visions got announced for Season 2.
Casually on Twitter. They just dropped it on Twitter like during Celebration.
A lot of stuff on Twitter was dropped. I had no idea.
It was so bizarre. It was so bizarre. We're like, hey, did you guys hear that there was a Vision? I'm like, oh yeah, they talked about it in the panel? No, not at all, actually.
Not that one.
It was just
they
weird.
had a Visions panel that none of us got to go to because it cross-referenced stuff. But they're like, oh yeah, by the way, all these new things are coming. A whole new series is coming. There's also a Visions comic they announced. Like, okay, we're going to have a full recap video later on that Emma's putting together. We are obviously never going to be able to cover all of it, which is so great. But of course, it's coming later this year with Tales of the Jedi. I really hope they do more of it. But we were exhausted after all of this. All these official panels happened. The behind-the-scenes Del Rey panel happened, which was great. But a lot of us couldn't hang out and be there and listen to awesome stories from Tom, from Anna Christopher, from Mike Chen, from Kirsten White, because we had to go to a little thing called the Utini Celebration, which happened on Saturday night. And my goodness, what a fun time. Any quick, I mean, if you were there, we loved seeing you. We had a great crowd. We met for the first time. I mean, how do you describe what Celebration was, guys? It was our first party.
It was a lot of fun. In natural, classic Utini fashion, all of our tech went to shit.
Yep. It was not good.
We had
that was okay.
we were gonna try to do some podcasting live, and it didn't really work out that well. But that's okay. I mean, it was still fun, and we got to hang out with everybody. I didn't eat anything, so I was so busy chatting and meeting all these people, and it was so much fun. And we met lots of folks from our community and people in our Discord, and new friends, people that came by they either came to our panel or they came by the booth, and we invited them to the party. And hey, I met you guys at the booth. I wanted to come to the party, and it was a lot of fun. Really great venue. Eric gave me a beautiful toast that I will never
you deserved
forget.
it.
That was really nice, man.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I mean, this was one of the other big highlights for us too. It was one of the last days, right? It was on Saturday,
yep,
so
Saturday
it was
night.
kind of a nice, maybe kind of conclusion for Utini. I think in a lot of ways, we were all pretty dead by Sunday. Like we were kind of like watching the clock, ready to pack up the booth on Sunday. So like Saturday was sort of like the icing on the cake, and it was really, really fun. Really fun. We made lots of good friends and met some really cool people. And I think Rob, was that his name? Rob was my favorite. Was it Ron or Rob? I can't remember. I think it was Ron. Ron, the guy with the really cool tattoos.
Yes,
You remember we talked to him?
Amazing tattoos.
Yes, we talked to him for like 30 minutes when we first got there. He was one of the first people that got there, and I think he got there a little early, and we went by and talked to him, and I just went and chatted with him for a minute. And it was kind of quiet. And then he really opened up, and I got Eric to come. I was like, Eric, you gotta meet this guy. He's so cool. And then he started showing us his tattoos, and he's got all these like both of his legs with his arms, and he's just been around since the beginning. And it was so fun to, kind of touch base with folks in our community that like we've never met before, or maybe we've never seen them in our comments before, and those types of things. And it was a fun experience for sure.
Just the best time. As you see the comments, yes, Jared was there, Cheryl was there. We finally got to chat a ton. We found some amazing cosplayers that showed up. It was just so full of love and so fun, which of course led us into Sunday, which again, for the entire day, still had a freaking Bad Batch Season 2 panel, which was great. We got to see, as I'm sure all of you have seen by now, there was a trailer for Season 2. I mean, it looks just as amazing as Season 1 did. We loved it. We're going to be covering it. Go watch the full trailer. But it was coming out later this year in September, I believe. Now we've confirmed a release date. But that was just cool to kind of be in the love of yet another project. And guys, that's really, as we're kind of winding down our coverage here, that's really what the whole weekend was. It was like, look at this new project. Look at this new project. The live celebration stage, which if you've been over the Star Wars YouTube channel, there's clips, 10-minute clips of Hayden and Ewan, Giancarlo Esposito. Like all these people just showed up and gushed for 10 minutes at a time. And it was perfect. So you gotta, go check that out if you want to feel the vibe. But all this being said, we finally got to the closing ceremony and got one final announcement. I just want to hear from you guys before we get out of here. We confirmed that April, 10 months, it's in Europe. Celebration is going to London in the Excel Center. This was a rumor.
What was the reaction? What was the reaction?
I can tell you what it was. So I was in the I was at the Star Wars show stage or whatever, and it was me and Emily and Caitlin and Trev and a couple other people. And they're like, the guy comes out and he's really excited. He's like, and we're going to London. And everybody, and there's kind of a collective, yay. Trevor's like, just like freaked out. Everybody looked at us or whatever, and we're like, "Oh, listen, this guy's a Brit. All right, he's excited. All right, he's allowed to be excited." It was funny because the collective was like, "Oh, Europe," and all the Europeans in the crowd just lost their damn minds. It was
as
amazing.
they should.
Yeah, I'm legitimately so pleased for so many European fans because there's such a European contingent.
They have been neglected.
It was harder. And you know what? We'll see. I gotta give a huge shout out to our buddy JG, who's in the chat now. JG is the most expert celebration person you'll ever meet.
Unbelievable info.
Saturday night, JG's like, "Let's go to London." I'm like, "How the hell do you know?"
Yeah, he knows everything. JG knows everything. And he's in the chat right now. JG was with us too, and he immediately, because JG stayed in a room with Trevor and Oz and Andrew. I think they all ring together.
The wild room.
Listen, Oz and Trevor together are just insane, and Trevor just parties so hard. I don't know how anybody can keep up with him. It's ridiculous.
On foreign soil. I can't fathom.
I don't know how he could stand. Like he would post pictures at like 2:00 in the morning and Slack. I'm like, how is he awake the next day?
It was incredible.
And it was fantastic. And JG turns to me right after Trevor freaks out. He turns to me and he goes, "Oh no, Trevor's going to make us go to all the pubs." JG's clearly traumatized from the whole experience, but it was so fun. And thank God that Charles and I are going to be making attending money because that's what it's going to take to go to London.
I don't think I've said this on the show, but
I
was sitting on a rocking chair at the beach on the front porch in North Carolina. Nicole's sitting next to me, who, if you're new to the show, she's my significant other who's not a big Star Wars person. And I saw this and I show it to her. It said, Celebration Europe. And she was like, "You're not leaving the country without me." And I was like, "Oh, so you're coming to Celebration?"
We'll see.
Yeah. I think it's we've talked a lot. We've talked not a lot. We talked briefly on the team of what that looks like for you.
Trevor was looking up hotels the next day, and I'm like, I need to get home.
Like, Trevor, go to sleep first. All right, please.
We're so excited.
So we don't know. We don't know what will happen. We don't want to predict it. It's a very short amount of time. Celebration did cost Utini a lot of money this year, and a lot of things to discuss and figure out. I can tell you this though: there will certainly be a lot of us that go to London. I think a lot of people on the team will probably go. I mean, this was such a cool experience to put so many people that know each other from the internet in one place at one time. So we will be there, maybe in a little less official capacity, but
less force probably. I mean, in order to get the booth, as you guys have followed us, we had to ship a lot of stuff across the continental United States and drive it around. A little tougher when we only got two people on the ground in the UK. But as many of us that can financially make it over will be there. I mean, that's just kind of that's the easy sort of it. So if you're going to Celebration next year, those of us that go would obviously love to see you. This was unlike anything I've ever gone to. I can't imagine many things will keep me away. Now a couple $1,000 price tag might be one of those things. Yeah. But we'll
dates
keep
are hard
obviously
too.
Posted as they happen. Yep.
Lots of talk in the comments too. Yeah, it's weird timing. It's super weird. I mean, they must have had this plan for a while. It seems like. So
I think there's some stuff coming in May that they got a promo. Would be my original theory, or they got a really good deal in the XL Center. Who knows? That's
a good point. Yeah, maybe that's a good point. Maybe something is coming. That time frame kind of works out. So yeah, I don't know. Timing's weird. It's across the ocean. We'll make it work.
Yeah, I'm excited for Celebration, isn't it? All right, I got one. That's all I got. So as we close out our 2-part Celebration coverage, my goodness, I feel like we could talk for hours more, and I could go back tomorrow. Fellas, what was your number one takeaway from Celebration? And Charles, I'm gonna start with you, man. Obviously, you heard a lot of the stuff on these shows for the first time, and you took a lot in, even though you weren't there. What was your big takeaway from Star Wars Celebration Anaheim 2022?
Oh man, number one, the Star Wars isn't going anywhere. I mean, I don't think any of us thought that, but good Lord, I mean, there's so much coming, and I don't know how we're gonna digest all of this, but I am excited to try. And I think the other thing that just watching, tangentially y'all's experience is this solidified for me, like, why I love the Utini community so much, because I could see even from the outside that going to Star Wars Celebration, as someone who's never been, I think it must be one of those like lifetime Star Wars fan bucket list things. But when you're going and you're going with this group that you've shared all these experiences with virtually, and whether it's in the Discord or whether you're one of the hosts of the podcast, whatever it is, when you can go and meet some of these people that you otherwise wouldn't have a chance to meet and spend time with and experience things with those people, like that is why we do this. And it was so motivating for me to see that it was so fulfilling for you guys. And it kind of lights that fire under me to do everything I can do to get to the next one.
For sure.
Yeah. Yes to all.
Wes, I want to hear from you guys because this is your first one, right?
That's great. That's a good point. Wes, then.
So one of my favorite things that I guess I saw was just all the people, right? So all the people that I don't normally see on a day-to-day basis, having the time of their lives. We're all nerding out at all the panels, definitely on the floor. But I want to thank one person in particular who really put this whole thing together. I mean, I've watched. He first came across me like a couple years ago, and that's you, Matt. I got a picture with Matt, the radar technician.
Oh my God!
Where's my muffin, Matt?
Wow.
I flagged this guy down the first time I saw him, and then the rest of the day he was like, all right, man, I get it. Like, you like my costume. I was like, you're Matt, the radar technician.
Excellent. No notes. Oh, jeez.
Eric, what about you, man? This is your first one. Did it meet all your expectations? Are you overwhelmed?
I am in a very cliche position because I felt like you did after Chicago, where I came home and I was like, well, my life's got to be different now, because Celebration not only exceeded my expectations in terms of pure content, friendships, like Cheryl says, new friendships, existing ones, Utini and beyond, the kindness of people, the excitement, the thrills, everything. But the pure euphoric joy I felt every day at Celebration has actively made me think differently about my life going forward. And I think that my pursuit of joy in the Star Wars community and beyond has never really been stronger than it is now, I think. And I'm just so inspired by how happy Star Wars can make so many of us, at the same time that I don't see a reason why my life can't always be going in that direction. And it has really profoundly hit me in that way of like, wow, this is what they mean. This is why we do it. And I absolutely just kind of want to dedicate the rest of my life to making that happen. So very profound for me.
It's fun.
Very profound.
Yeah, it's fun. I think a lot of people like Star Wars Celebration is that reminder that they're not alone in the fandom for a lot of people. And, this was because this is my second one. And this is also on the backdrop of having coming out of the last Star Wars Celebration with like you said, Eric, this is going to shape my life. And this certainly shaped how we built and operated Utini for the last 2-3 years, right? And I think this really highlighted for me the fact that the community that we work so hard to build here it's not quite that insanity that the euphoria from Celebration is, but it is certainly an element of that constant positivity and joy and fun all the time. So it didn't quite for me feel like, oh my gosh, this is huge breath of fresh air. Everybody's not shitting on The Last Jedi finally. And I think it is for a lot of people, but I don't feel like that because we have this awesome thing we built here at Utini where we focus on that all the time, and not to toot our own horn too much. But I will say going back, and I asked Freddie this too, because Freddie has been to 7 Star Wars Celebrations, right? Gosh. And I asked him, how does this shape up compared to your history with Celebrations? And he said, it says doing this with Utini is obviously put it on a whole nother level, but there is something about going back and experiencing all the hidden footage and the behind the scenes stuff and being in the crowd and the show floor and the costumes that never goes away. It's just such a overwhelming joy to be around people that love what you love. It's just so invigorating and thrilling. And you gotta do it. If you're a Star Wars fan, you gotta do it once in your life. At some point, if you have to save for 5 years, be able to go, you got to do it. I mean, freaking camp in a campground outside of the city or something if you have to. I don't know. Like, you got to go at some point in your life because it is just a completely overwhelming, exceptional experience. And it's just one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life. And this one, especially being the sort of debut, I guess, of Utini in a lot of ways, like in a professional capacity with the fandom, has just been, man, I don't know how we're ever going to top this, guys. I've said that before. I've said it before, but I don't know how we're ever going to top it. This was just so much fun. It was so much fun, and I'm still barely recovering from it. It's just insane.
We'll see you in London as best we can, and all celebrations from here on out. I don't see Utini stopping anytime soon. We cannot wait to see you all. And for those of you that weren't there, we can confirm, as Cheryl says, I am, in fact, the shortest member of the Living Force.
Do you know how many people told me, wow, you're a lot taller than I expected? I literally had, I think, like 8 to 10 people tell me that joke. Like,
the bit worked.
The bit worked. I thought I was super short.
I know,
but screw you guys for doing this to me. I'm like, Eric's the short one, damn it.
You had those special shoes that gave you an extra 4 inches.
Oh my God.
And on that note, my friends, that will do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. If you support us on Patreon, thank you so much for all your assistance. Look out for all the cool content we get coming your way. And a special thank you to OK Endar, Brian Dooley, Patrick Ortiz, Earl Q, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Elizabeth Cloutier, Freddie C, and Stallion Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Corey M. Helton. Charles Zetzi Henkel. Wes is at Boss Wes. A special thank you to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire, and Wes, our producer and community manager. Thank you to Corey, Charles, and Wes for potting with me tonight. Thanks to all of you for watching and listening back at home. We will see you at Celebration sometime in the future, I'm sure. And as always, may the Force be with you.